Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to my show, Crypto by Jess. In today's video, we're going to go through the latest events that have been going on in politics and in the crypto space. But all right, let's jump into it. So we're going to start off first. Trump was convicted, a couple days ago with 34 felonies. And we know that he's been a pro-crypto advocate, and so many in the crypto space were very excited about this, including myself. And so now there's so many questions in the space as to what does this mean now for crypto? Because a president can't be a felon, right? And he's actually technically the first former president in the world that is being convicted of felonies. So there's a lot to unpack there, but I was listening to the news today, the All In podcast. I'd encourage you to go follow them, but he explains it so well. So let's take a listen.
Okay, if people were wondering what the case is actually about, falsifying business records, this is a pretty serious crime in New York City. Basically, when people don't keep correct records, when they're committing crimes, this is taken seriously in New York because it is the financial capital of the world. They've got a long history, whether it's, Bernie Madoff, Enron, et cetera, of pursuing these. I don't know why this didn't get communicated well to the public, but there were obviously tons of business records falsified here, and they basically admitted to it. Michael Cohen had pleaded guilty to it already. And so it really feels like a misdemeanor. And then to understand what happened after that, there is a law in New York, as Sachs correctly pointed out, on top of the falsifying of business records, which New York takes deadly seriously, and they put this in every indictment when people do it, because they want the accountants, lawyers, CFOs to behave themselves and not cheat the public. The election interference, also taken very seriously in New York. There's been tons of cases. Again, typically minor things, but people who do things like try to stuff ballots, et cetera. And so you put those two together. If you do if you falsify business records and you do it as part of a second crime, which he did, which he was convicted of, then you get these penalties. So that is the explanation of the case. That was why he was found guilty. It's pretty easy to figure this all out. If you don't know all this, it's because you didn't take the time to read anything about the case in terms of the basic heuristics of it, which I think is...
So I'll pause there. So basically that's what happened, right? So he falsified some records and some hush money that he paid out during his last presidential run. Money, some of this hush money went to like Stormy Daniels, like porn star celebrity, I guess. And so anyway, I guess they went and dug up all this information on him, and now, they presented it. And later on in this podcast, you hear Chamath, who's I think he's former Facebook strategy or something, billionaire, and very, very thoughtful and methodical in the way he understands and explains things. But the way he put it, and I tweeted this on my Twitter, was it's like they literally twisted his case and all of the different events into a pretzel. Like they had to twist the law, is the way he put it, into a pretzel to make these what should have been misdemeanors, twist them into felonies. But it happened, and it's not so hard to imagine why this is happening without getting too conspiratorial. And that's simply because he's running up against Biden. Biden is the current president that currently holds more power, right, in government. And rumor is, or the argument or facts that are coming up right now basically say that the judge that was chosen to judge over his case was pro-Biden, and that his daughter, and you can fact check me, there's factcheck.org, I believe, his daughter is working on Biden's campaign. So right off the bat, he had a judge that was already against him and was pro-Biden. You know what I mean? So it wasn't like, just from that point of view, it wasn't fair. And then, I did hours and hours and hours of research for you guys today, but then you hear many people saying, bringing up even like past cases up against Trump. I guess there's like some like sexual misconduct with some of his employees, female employees. I don't know how much of that is true. And of course, if that is true, then I wouldn't feel good about it. And I wouldn't I wouldn't like him as a person, but I don't know enough about that to comment on this right now. But if we just look at very basic facts, right? I said this in previous videos and I'll say it again. And I heard it on the All In podcast actually, and that is that we have to be able to hold two thoughts at the same time, right? So you can not like him as a person, but that shouldn't make you or someone discard what this person is good at, right? And so that said, we know Trump is very pro crypto, and he didn't just switch over to crypto all of a sudden as soon as he was like as an excuse or a reason during his presidential campaign. He knew it was a hot topic, so yes, he did hone in on it, but he's had NFTs for a while, like even before he was running for president. So he's already been in crypto. I think I heard today on Ivan on Tech Show, I think his wallet show he has like $10 million worth in his wallet. So he's like an active crypto participant. You know what I mean? So anyway, that said, it is unfortunate this is happening, but it's not shocking because, like, of course, Biden is going to try, and those that don't like him, the Democrats, of course, and I'm not hating on the Democrats whatsoever, either. But anyway, long story short, it's not so shocking or surprising to hear this. It is a little sad on a human level because I can imagine it's a lot of stress for him. And it's meant to distract him, right? Like that's what your enemies try to do to you. Like The Art of War talks about this. There's a book called The Art of War, and you basically try to distract or exhaust your opponent, and that's a tactic, right? So we know that that's what's happening right now. But in other research I've done, many are saying that, and I'll show you a tweet right now, but during the time, here you go. So since his conviction, or I think on the day of his conviction is what I heard, his website for, like his campaign, and then where you can like submit donations to him, it broke. Like it went down because there were so many people sending him money. I don't have the exact amount of money because what we're reading on the screen here, if you can't see my screen, it says President Donald Trump's campaign says it raised $34.8 million in small dollar donations since the conviction. So all of this to say that, well, let's ask, like, what does this say? It says obviously, as the saying goes, even negative PR is PR, right? So it's like a double-edged sword in a way, what all of these accusations and drama have caused. They, they did manage to hurt his morale. There's there are videos on this where he came out and he looked really quite tired and beaten up right after the conviction, but it still brought a lot of attention to him. And as we are reading here, it actually made people rally, like it made his supporters rally and just want to support him all the more. And some are saying that, I'm just bringing you up to speed, right? Some are saying that they're thinking most likely it's going to just get dismissed, as a misdemeanor. He does have very strong attorneys. So we'll see what happens, but he's obviously not backing down. And there's also talk that very strategically and coincidentally, they won't reach any resolution on his conviction or dismiss it until after the election, which would be so convenient, right? Because a convicted felon can't be president. So if they strategically push it out until after the elections, then oh well, right? He can't run for president. So we'll see. But as of now, we should hear final sentencing updates on between July 7th and 11th. So stay tuned. In the meantime, what this could mean for crypto is that his memes could pump, right? We know he has Trump and we know he has MAGA. So I'm just throwing it out there. It's not financial advice, but chances are these memes could rally just because it's a way, once again, memes are a way for people, like the people and culture to express itself. So who knows? They vote by memes. Yeah, I know. It's really, really quite interesting. And this is, okay, so once again, like why this is going to have such an impact, I think, potentially on these political memes. Trump may actually end up just winning if his attorneys are able to overturn this, is because, as we're reading on the screen, 1 out of 5 likely voters own crypto. So this is why this is so brutal. Like, we are in war, guys. Crazy. But that said, I want to shift gears a little bit towards this new book that I just started, and the author, she's brilliant. I'd love to be her friend if she's watching. Her name's Kyla Scanlon. She's a recent author of a book called In This Economy. Anyway, in this clip that I'm going to play for you, she explains, like, you know, basically the impact that news and like regulation and inflation, like the impact it has on you and me as investors, as members of society, and our purchasing decisions, which ends up affecting the market, right? And it really comes down to, like, where I'm going to start playing this is basically she's starting to explain, like, why, people don't understand the economy. And what I found really quite beautiful and a bit shocking in this interview is that you hear both of the hosts. I think this is Sean Adams, and then I don't know the other guy's name, but they're really quite knowledgeable. But you hear one of them, you hear Sean, like openly admit that he was a business degree major. Like, he studied business in college. And I can relate to this because I have my MBA. But he says this, and I agree, that he finished his degree in business and he still didn't understand the economy, right? And if he's like, studied in this, and so was I, and it didn't help me in business. Like, it helped me get business jobs once I finished my MBA. But everything I've learned, I've had to learn it the hard way, trial and error, and just starting businesses and failing, just life. But no one taught me. I had to go teach myself. And that's one of my goals of this video, of this channel, is to try to do what Kyla's doing, right? Like, I want to write a book too, on like crypto made easy, and just really explain it all in the best and like easiest way possible, because it's so confusing. And really, crypto is the solution to the broken economy. But if you don't even understand how the economy works and how it's broken, then you don't even really see the need for crypto. You know what I mean? It's like step 2. So let's just take a listen. But it's so brilliant the way she explains it. So I wanted to share it with you just to like make you like understand you're not alone. And you can go read her book, which is very easy, or listen to this podcast. It's called How Money and Markets Really Work with Kyla Scanlon, as you can see on my screen. But let's take a listen.
Kingdom, which was my attempt to draw interconnectivity between all of the various topics, like fiscal policy, monetary policy, inflation, GDP, labor market, private market, VCs, all of those things, because I think it feels so disparate and big and confusing, and you kind of have to like solar system it and see all the connectivity. And I think for people it's my, like I do this all the time. I'm so avoidant. Like if I don't understand something, I avoid it. And I think that's kind of just what people do, is like they're not given the tools, and it's not their fault. But if you're not given the tools and you don't know how to access the tools, of course you're gonna avoid it, right?
Yeah, here's the crazy thing. I did my entire undergrad in business, and I like realized at the end of that I still didn't understand the economy. Like I understood snippets, right? And I read all the textbooks. Like I was actually like a fine student. Like I did the assignments. But I didn't really understand until all of this works, until I kind of like took it in my own hands. And actually, like crypto is part of my whole financial education. I had to learn all of the other bits and pieces. I want to ask you another question. Is some people might still like think if they look at your book, or
I'll pause there. It's such a good podcast. Honestly, we could keep listening to it. But the point is here that, you're not alone. Like no one is really taught the way the economy works or why it matters. But it matters. And unless we're taught, then we don't even know how to participate, right? We don't know why one president is better than the other, or why it matters, or what bill they're proposing, like why they matter, right? And so anyway, I'm all about her book right now. I'll be sharing with you what I learn, but you can also go listen to the podcast. But it's really brilliant because this is what she's describing right now, is that there's like the kingdom of finance, I think she calls it. And she literally draws like different castles that represent different parts of the economy, and then draws like arrows, how they connect. And I think that's what we need to see sometimes, Anyway, there's the kingdom of crypto, and then she explains it too. But anyway, so what does this mean, right? And this is what like she goes on to explain, is that we react. She calls it the economy of vibes or energy. And I have said this on my show before, on how really when you look at a chart, when you look at like Bitcoin, right? Or at your favorite coin, when you see it going up and down, really you're looking at, it's like the life pulse, but you're looking at people's emotions. That's what you're really looking at, right? That's why you want to stay up to date with the news. And that's why I try to share it with you, because that's why they say like sell the news event, right? It's like there's patterns and people are emotional, right? And their emotions matter. And then we react to news, right? And so when you hear, oh no, like the SEC or Gary Gensler's going to come out and give some announcement on, I don't know, like interest rates or whatever. Like the real importance of that is that whatever he says is going to affect the market. And then you have market makers ready to, buy and sell on us. Like we are their liquidity, like we are their money. I don't know how else to say it. So that's the importance. And that's why I love her book and I loved this podcast, and just want to say like, thank you to Bankless Podcast, because they brought us some really good content. And yeah, and that's the real implication of what's going on with Trump's, case and all of these bills. We know that the Ethereum ETFs were approved, but they're not tradable yet, right? And so we see this in some of Ethereum's price action. But it's all part of this one big drama, and then that's why you have to stay up to date. But that said, let's shift gears a little bit to just some like updates of like what's going on. And as I'm explaining this, just like think about like the impact it may have on the market, right? And like what's the bigger like story here, right? So here what we're reading is that a judge orders the SEC to pay $1.8 million in damages for abusing its power against a crypto company named Debtbox. So we know that last year they sued this company called Debtbox. And what's amazing here, and this is what I'm trying to share with you, and I've said it in previous videos, where like times are changing. Like there's like a sort of like financial power, like awakening happening in government and in finance and in all over the world. And it's beautiful because this judge, I have the name, but I don't have it with me. I want to go research about them because they basically said that the accusations against this company, Debtbox, were like petty. They were petty, which means they were like just dumb, right? They were dumb, they were insignificant, and that the SEC was just trying to like find something wrong. So it's really quite amazing that, you know, a judge, which just in nature, they're conservative, would be open to believing and wanting to reconsider and revisit a case against a crypto company, because it seems like lately what we read in the news is that judges and the SEC and everyone's going after crypto. And finally, we have a case where a judge overturns a case on a crypto company and is actually, you know, ordering the SEC to pay damages. Like, that's amazing. So here's some good news for us. And just a quick look at the market, right? Today's video will be shorter because I am traveling. I'm quite tired, actually. It's like going on, it's like going on 4:30 in the morning. I'm in Austin. It's been busy lately, but I had to make this video. I had to come to you mainly to say I missed you and that I'm still here, and I'll be making content more regularly again. But yeah, so just bear with me. But anyway, so right now, if we were to zoom in on where we are on this chart and what it says, right? Like if you look at the chart, like it looks like a pattern is repeating itself, right? And I've said it in previous videos, but this is where we are. This is our second chance. And that's what this tweet says. It says, you know, this gentleman here, he says, I can't imagine not being exposed to altcoins at the moment, like alternative coins, right? Especially the good ones, which I cover on my channel. He says, remember, markets are not only forgiving, sometimes it gives you a second chance if you missed the first one. It's not a time to be lazy in the market. Do your own research as alt season has started, in my opinion. Because if you're looking at the screen, like this is where we are, right? And if you can't see my screen, then you would know we're at a point where in last bull run was the last sort of like sideways consolidation motion before it completely takes off and goes like up a mountain. So this is where we are, guys. And if you missed last bull run, like I know last bull run, I made a lot of money, well, sort of, right? But I didn't take any profits, like hardly any. And the profits I did, I put them into a company, into a creative agency that ended up not working out. So really, it was still worth it because I was able to actually produce the branding for Commonwealth, which you guys may have heard of. They actually launched on Ignition. I've shared quite a bit of information on them, but I was traveling during those days. I'm sorry I didn't bring it to you. But yeah, Commonwealth. It's still early, guys, so you're not missing anything. Let me show them to you. But before I do, just very, very quickly, I just wanted to read what's on the screen. And that is that Mt. Gox, right, which is an exchange from years and years ago that was hacked. It's like the first major hack in the crypto space. All this time, the government had seized. Well, okay, the story is that they were hacked. All the funds were like locked or seized or something. And then another buyer bought it. But when he bought it, he didn't realize that he bought like a hacked exchange. So anyway, he went like bankrupt or like lost a lot of money in that. And all this time, all the funds have been locked up by the government. And recently, this last week, everyone, because you can track everything on blockchain, they've been noticing that funds have been moving from Mt. Gox's, like the wallet or wallet address where those funds have been locked for like a really long time, are starting to move. So the distribution date for everyone who lost money at Mt. Gox, like the distribution when they get their money back, is on October 31st. So it's going to be like, what does he say? 9 gorillion. I think it's like $9 million or billion. I don't know. And so what this guy is saying, and I'm not trying to spread FOMO, or sorry, not FOMO, FUD or anything, but what he's saying is that he says, I would also make the argument that something will coincide or that something will happen during this time, right? Because it seems to be like that big things happen at the same time. With really big news comes some really big, shocking, like, news as well. I don't know. We'll see. But that's sad. Let me show you Commonwealth, as I was telling you. This guy. So this is what I was able to produce during, like, because basically I worked for free, right? Because I was a new agency. Now I'm just telling you my life story a little bit. But yeah, because I was a new agency and I just wanted the opportunity. Yeah, I basically went through like a million iterations of logos and produced by different designers. But anyway, it was still a learning lesson and experience. And in the end, we produced a beautiful logo. You need to see it like close up. Like every little dot was thought of. But anyways, great project. Go check them out. They basically let you get into deals that typically only like the top 1% of the world or like top investors get to invest in. The best deals. So yeah, pretty awesome. But anyways, guys, there's more news for you, but I will stop there. Just quickly, I will just also want to read for you. So what I wanted to show you, I'm showing you my ChatGPT, I know, but it's because, so I use ChatGPT this way all the time, and you can use it this way as well in helping you unpack and understand complex things. So I've even taken a screenshot of a chart and uploaded it to ChatGPT, attached it, and then asked it to explain it to me. It's pretty awesome. But anyway, so we know that there was the SAB 121 bill that was being petitioned. I forget her name, but some congresswoman, and it was denied. Okay, it was denied. Very sad. But before we get all like hot and steamy and like upset thinking like, oh, why was it denied? You know, the government is against the crypto space. They're just making it harder. We need to understand like why it was denied. And I asked ChatGPT to like help me understand all the different reasons for it. And this is the way it explained it, right? It said that it was denied because the first like 3 reasons just sound like a bunch of BS, but it says that, you know, it was too complex for businesses, right? So implementing this new bill would require businesses to record and report the value of their crypto assets they are holding, right? And that this could be too complicated because the crypto assets can change a lot in value. And we know this, right? The crypto market is like up, down, up, down, up, down, very volatile. So their argument as to why it was denied was because this would be too hard for businesses to keep their records accurate and up to date. So this sounds like a lot of BS, but maybe yes, maybe no, because like even regular currencies change in value, like their exchange rates and their value goes up and down. And so there's tools for this, right? And now thanks to the power of AI, like I'm using, you can implement AI, and there's like so many tools now to help you keep up to date. So that just doesn't sound like a good reason to me. But we are talking about an age group of legislators and decision makers in government that are more mature in age. And so you can imagine that, you know, they didn't grow up with this technology. So maybe for them, it's too complicated. But who knows? So that's like, I'm just giving you like both sides of the argument, right? Point number 2 as to why it was denied was because it would be a regulatory burden. So this sounds also like they're being a little lazy, right? So it says some businesses argue that it would add extra rules and paperwork, which can become costly and time consuming. They can believe, that they believe it creates an unworkable regulatory environment, basically because it's just too hard and new. basically that's the reason. It's too hard. It's new. We don't want to do it. It's because it'd be difficult for them to operate efficiently. Okay, once again, we have the power of AI and a lot of smart consultants, and they can print money, so they can print money to hire these consultants, right? But that's the reason, okay? Third would be the legal and technical challenges. They, basically because there would be legal and technical changes, right? But they say there would be legal and technical risks associated with holding or safeguarding crypto assets. But banks already have this issue too, you know what I mean? But I feel like they're implying hacks here, right? Because we are talking about the digital era, and hacks are very common. That's why you need to save your password and your secret code and your secret key as safe as possible. So I can kind of hear them, right? Because if they're going to pass this law, then that means they have to know how to regulate it or how to create rules around it. And that would mean they have to understand it enough to do this. And they obviously don't because it's new. So this one sounds a little bit more legitimate to me. It sounds like they just need more education, and they just need to, be more prepared before they accept it. So yeah, as it says here, see, cyber attacks. Right, so that was the third reason it was denied. Fourth is the industry pushback. So now they're saying that the crypto space was vocal about their concerns. As I'm zooming in on the screen, they say this. I haven't heard anyone complain about this, but maybe it's because I'm not following the crypto wallet space very closely. I don't know. But they say, this is what they are saying, that the crypto people like us, that they're saying that we feel that this law, SAB 21, could stifle innovation and growth in the crypto space by imposing strict and potentially burdensome requirements. So, yeah, I could see this being true. I could see this law being burdensome and difficult to the crypto space if they impose rules that don't make sense because they don't understand crypto. So in that case, if they were to implement rules that don't make sense, that don't have to exist, this could definitely stifle innovation. And really what it would do, I'll take it further, is it'll just encourage some specific crypto founders to just kind of go rogue and kind of create what they're going to create anyway, because you can't stop innovation. Like, you cannot stop evolution. And innovators are on the cutting edge. They're at the forefront of evolution. It's like thanks to innovators that evolution happens, right? These are the people that think outside of the box and that are challenging and trying to find solutions. So you can't stop that. So in that regard, I could see how this is a good reason to not have passed the law yet, because it's just not ready. You know what I mean? Like, they need to fully understand all the implications around custodying crypto before proving it. But once again, it's the government. They print money, and AI exists now. So they could easily just hire the right people, the right consultants, the right creators, AI experts to help them understand crypto, and they could just make it happen, and they could, legislation gets passed in parts anyway, right? They could approve it, but then there's like the refining process, and then they implement it. So I don't know, and I don't know that much about government to say that they could have done it differently either. But anyway, I'm just kind of letting you know why it was denied. And then the fifth reason was a bipartisan concern. So this means both the Republicans and the Democrats both had the same concern. And that is that lawmakers from both political parties have expressed concerns about the potential negative impact on businesses and the economy. They believe that the rule might need more refinement to balance protection for consumers and operational feasibility for business. So I hear them once again. This is basically what I just finished saying, that they just need to further understand it before they start creating laws around it. But like the real elephant in the room is that there's it is happening. Crypto is being adopted on a global scale. Governments all over the world are implementing their own digital currencies. The Bitcoin ETF was approved. And then we know that Ethereum ETF was approved. It's just not tradable yet. Crypto is here. Crypto is here. Nothing is stopping it. And in that regard, I would say they shouldn't have denied it. I mean, maybe they should have pushed back and they just need to get with the times is all I'm going to say. And I mean it with all due respect, but you can't just deny it. If America wants to stay ahead, they have to find a way to allow for crypto to be custodied by banks. That's it. They need to find a way. If it's a postponed date, whatever, they have to find a way, because otherwise other nations of the world, we know that Dubai is already competing. Dubai is extremely crypto friendly. The government has embraced it. I know personally in our circle of friends and business colleagues, so many people are moving to Dubai because it's just very crypto friendly and innovative, and they're not scared of innovation. They welcome it. And the US is a beautiful country. I love the US so much, and it's founded on capitalism and democracy and innovation and daredevils, basically. So I really hope that the US gets with the times and doesn't just shut it down, So I really hope this isn't the last we're hearing of this SAB 121, but we'll be following it closely. That said, guys, that's a wrap for today's video. I hope you enjoyed, and I will be back with you more regularly. Okay, I'm finding creative ways of doing this, but for now, it's just me. I'm a one-man show, one-woman show. But I love you very much, and just know that now is still the time to be buying and preparing for the bull run, because it's going to go parabolic from here. But all right, guys, talk to you later.